Florida. His name is Glen Big Bad Wolfe. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hugh Millay here to bring you the blow-by-blow of today's championship 12-rounder for the 154 title in the International Boxing Federation as we get a look of the combatants coming toward the ring today. Not a lot is known of Glen Big Bad Wolfe, but first of all, we get a look at Glen Big Bad Wolfe coming in wearing the red. He comes in with an outstanding record of 27-1, 88% knockouts. He's out of Liberty City portion of Miami, Florida, very tough section of that town, and he's been fighting now professionally for some 9 years. This is his, by far and away, his most important fight of his life, the first world title fight. Comes in ranked #1 by the IBF. Only one loss, of course, being to Stevie Little back in 1985. That was an 8-round decision. The crafty Stevie Little, and since that time, Glen Big Bad Wolfe has gone undefeated and looking very impressive with a series of knockouts. As we said, 24 of his 27 victories by knockout, which computes to 88%. He's a big guy. Some people have compared him favorably to the likes of Jake LaMotta, a guy who really doesn't know how to take a step backwards. So that's a look at Glen Big Bad Wolfe as he comes in the ring here in Rome. It's a 12-rounder, and Glen isn't a guy who said before the fight that he has no intentions of going 12 rounds. He'd like to end this thing rather early because he knows that Rosi is a gentleman who will often go deep into the fight. Both 12-round decision wins over Darren Van Horn, of course winning him the IBF title. But there's a look at the gentleman who comes in today at 6 foot tall. He'll be 30 years of age on August 13th. So we're just a short time away from this man turning 30, his biggest opportunity as a fighter coming out of the state of Florida. Liberty City, part of Miami, coming in with an amateur record of 78-6. And here comes the very popular Juanfranco Rosi, one of the oldest world champions in the world today. What a story, this gentleman. This will be his 10th world title fight. Number 10 for Rosi, a man who's lived at 154 pounds. He first won the 154-pound title back in 1987 on October 2nd with a 12-round decision over a very good fighter, Lupe Aquino. He would then defend it over Dwayne Thomas, eventually lose it July 8th, 1988 to Donald the Cobra Curry. There is a look at Rosi, and some people here in the States might not be real familiar with this gentleman. He has fought on national TV against Darren Van Horn when he won a 12-round decision back on July 15th, 1989. He took Darren Van Horn, a favored Van Horn, in Atlantic City for 12 rounds. Actually, Van Horn fighting on his home turf. Rosi came up and beat up a very good boxer in the form of Darren Van Horn. There is Rosi, a gentleman, as we said, who will be 34 years of age coming up on August 15th. So this is a gentleman who's been around a long time, has been fighting professionally for some 12 years, and rolls in with a record of 51-3, but only 16 knockouts. So if Rosi is going to win this fight, he wants to take it deep into the fight. And of course, Glen Big Bad Wolfe, with his 24 of 27 knockout wins, will be looking for that big KO early in the fight. So we'll be looking for certainly contrasting styles. Rosi, some people might say, is not a real pretty fighter. He likes to grab, he wrestles a little bit, but he certainly has done well for himself, winning, as we said, 51 of his 54 professional fights, but once again, under 30% knockout ratio. Although he can hit pretty hard, he did put Van Horn down in that first fight. And you can ask Darren Van Horn how hard Juanfranco Rosi can indeed hit. As we said, he began his career back in 1979 with a 6-round decision in Italy. He's fought almost all his fights, all except one, in Italy, France, but only one outside Europe, and that was in Atlantic City when he won the IBF title from, of course, Darren Schoolboy Van Horn. So the crowd is certainly up for this fight, seeing one of their favorite sons take it to the ring. Certainly a most popular fighter is Juanfranco Rosi, as he embarks on what will be his 6th title defense of the IBF title, but actually his 10th world title fight. So Rosi is a gentleman who has certainly been around, and a guy who intends to maintain that world title status. Certainly the 154-pound class is up for grabs right now as far as dominance. Terry Norris is certainly the dominant 154-pounder now after knocking off Sugar Ray Leonard and Donald Curry. And there has been talk of maybe unifying the 154-pounders. But Rosi is rather reluctant with a world title to come to the States where Norris would have a decided edge. But today he first must get by a gentleman out of Miami, Florida, Glen Big Bad Wolfe. There's a tight shot of Rosi, who also comes in. Looks like he's well heated. And we'll see if this gentleman is ready to defend his title. As we said, the 6th time for the IBF title, his 10th world title fight, a man who's been a mainstay at 154 pounds, Juanfranco Rosi, a 12-rounder, the International Boxing Federation title on the line today. And we'll get a look at a gentleman who packs a big punch, and we're talking about Glen Big Bad Wolfe. We'll come back with the start of today's activity as we get a look at the action inside the ring. Of the challenger, Glen Big Bad Wolfe, as we said, coming out of Miami of Florida. And he, of course, is trained by Al Bonani and Jack Blumenfeld. As we look at the star-studded crowd here in Rome, as they could look to take a look at their favorite son right now, the world champion at 154 pounds for the International Boxing Federation. His name, of course, is Juanfranco Rosi. And let's once again get those dates of birth straight as we get Rosi will soon be turning 34 on August 5th, and Glen Big Bad Wolfe will be turning 30 on August 13th. So both birthdays coming up. Both gentlemen kind of at a crossroads. Rosi, many people feel every time this guy is ready to hang him up or call it quits or look like he's finished, he comes on with a big performance like he has against Darren Van Horn. Glen Big Bad Wolfe is a gentleman who is very big for 154 pounds, comes in just over 6 feet tall, looks like he could fight at a lot more weight, packs a heavy punch, and has won his last 7 fights by knockout. As you see, 24 of his 27 wins by KO. So this is a gentleman who packs a good punch, and you have to figure if he's going to get something done, it'll probably be in the first portion of the fight. There she looks at the stats for Juanfranco Rosi, who was born in Assisi, Italy, and now lives in Perugia, just a little ways away from Assisi. And actually, during his spare time, if he has any, he runs a sporting goods store with his wife, Patricia. So a gentleman who's made his life inside and outside the ring. Juanfranco Rosi in the white trunks, and the challenger from Liberty City section of Miami. We're talking about Glen Big Bad Wolfe, and his most notable victory, and when you took a look at his record and talked to him, he would have to say his 5th round knockout of Jorge Masonet would probably bring him the most notable acclaim. And there's a look at Sam Williams as the referee. The IBF has selected Sam to work the fight today. It'll be a scheduled 12-rounder, and as we said before, Juanfranco Rosi and almost all his world title fights has pretty much gone the distance. As we get set to bring you the activity today, once again, experience could be key today for the combatants. Glen Big Bad Wolfe has never fought in a world title fight. Juanfranco Rosi on the other side of the coin, it'll be his 10th world title fight and the 6th defense of his IBF title. As we get a look at the combatants, round 1 set to go. Sam Williams working the gentleman inside the ring, and we get a look at the action as we got Rosi coming out in the white trunks and Big Bad Wolfe, Glen Big Bad Wolfe that is, coming out looking to establish his power. As we said, he'll be a gentleman certainly looking to get some early big punches in. Rosi is a gentleman who, as if you remember some of his fights, especially with the one with Donald Curry, very ugly. He gets thrown around a lot. He sometimes grabs, at times will grasp, and looks like it sometimes turns into wrestling. He's not a pretty fighter by any means, but he has certainly won his share of fights, and big fights, I might add, at 154 pounds. Action just underway, a scheduled 12-rounder IBF junior middleweight title. As we see Rosi doing pretty much what he always does, that's get inside and then grab and do some work inside. As you see, Wolfe is bigger physically, as he has 2 inches and 3 inch reach advantage, and gentleman certainly has the knockout potential, but then again you have to question his level of competition. Glen Wolfe certainly hasn't fought the level of competition like a Rosi, who's fights the likes of Donald Curry, Lupe Aquino, twice Darren Van Horn, Dwayne Thomas, certainly some good fights. As we got midway through round number one, both gentlemen pretty much taking it easy as Glen Wolfe trying to pretty much establish that jab early, and what we said would happen, and Sam Williams will have his hands full with Rosi when it comes to various tactics inside the ring, is a look at the gentleman who will hold, grab, and Glen Wolfe on the attack right now. I'm trying to land that long right hand. As we said, knockout power in both hands for Wolfe, but the right hand still is his favorite. Compares his style to a very aggressive Jake LaMotta. As Rosi, like we said, knockout's not an important part of his repertoire. Will pick you apart, frustrate you, and eventually wear you down, as he has both times against the younger and what appeared to be a stronger Darren Van Horn. Both gentlemen trying to get inside, and Wolfe has looked to land the lunging left. He's also tried to land the lunging right, and once again, Rosi tying him up. Sam Williams giving him the old don't do that, you're going to get some points taken away look. Once again, this will be a pro-Rosi crowd, as we are, of course, in Rome. And Glen Wolfe coming a long way for his world title opportunity, but very confident. Has risen through the ranks in the past year and now currently ranked #1 by the IBF. Certainly looks like a very solid performer. Thus far, though, you can see the tactics employed by Gianfranco Rosi, and I'm sure Glen Wolfe has watched tapes of the champion and will be cognizant of what goes on for the next 30 minutes or so, or forever how long this fight does last. As we get set to wrap up round number one, it's Gianfranco Rosi and Glen Wolfe for the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship. Humilé, 12th round of the IBF Junior Middleweight Championship. The champion, Gianfranco Rosi, wearing the white trunks, throwing the wild lefts, and the challenger from Miami, Florida, Liberty City to be exact, his name is Glen Big Bad Wolfe. And if you're talking about a gentleman who might have a little ring rust, it could be Big Glen. He hasn't fought since October 23rd of last year, so you're talking about 9.5 months since this guy has actually laced them up for real competition. And so Rosi most recently fought actually back on March 16th, a 10-round non-title, or actually was a decision, a win over Ron Edmondson. Ron Amundsen was a 12-round decision to retain his title. So Rosi, as far as ring rust, might be a little on the sharper side. As lands a nice combination to the face of Glen Wolfe. Is Rosi deceptively quick, hard to hit slaps, as you see the slapping left. Nothing real conventional about Gianfranco Rosi, but simple case, he gets the job done as Wolfe tries to land that big right hand. As we said, his last 7 fights, all wins, all by way of knockout, as Sam Williams steps in. And figures to have his hands full. And when Rosi fights, most of the time referee does work a little overtime in the ring. Look at the action here. Round number 2 is Rosi landing combination and a lunging left landed by Glen Wolfe. And the crowd, of course, cheering wildly for the champion, since he is fighting on the home turf, and anything Wolfe does will be minimized because he doesn't have a lot of fans except for the crew in his corner. As he looks to land the long jab, trying to get inside, and lands a wild left, just grazing Rosi, but certainly getting inside a little better than he had earlier, as Rosi ties him up, as he does very effectively. You see, Rosi is not a conventional man by any means when it comes to style. As we take a look at the action in there, Silverto Gresto is his manager in training today, Giovanni Bosciolino. So Rosi leaning, grabbing, as he often does every fight I've ever seen him. The gentleman works inside and will do pretty much anything allowed inside the ring. Wolfe trying to work inside. Sam Williams trying to get the good angle there, and Rosi getting away with a little holding. Both gentlemen doing some major work here in the corner. There's a look at Al Bonini, the trainer of Glen Wolfe. Some good action in the second round as both gentlemen going toe-to-toe. And Rosi right now seems to be getting the better of it, just for the simple reason he's throwing more punches. Glen Wolfe trying to maybe load up a little too much, and Rosi just piling on the points. Sam Williams steps in, and round number 2 is history. Scheduled for 12. Glen Wolfe in the blue trunks, coming from the USA by way of Miami. And now we get the champion, Rosi, in the white trunks. Rosi, good combination to start this third round off. Left and a quick right to the jaw, and Wolfe maybe a little reluctant to throw punches as Rossi's power rather deceptive right now as Wolfe tries to get some action inside, but Rosi doing the tie-up thing and Sam Williams doing his thing, and that's breaking up the fighters. Getting some excellent quick shots in there is the champion, Juanfranco Rosi. Wolfe trying to land that big right hand. It's delivered 24 knockouts and 27 professional wins. So far, he has yet to really lay the leather on the champion. And when he does get a shot, it's oftentimes Rosi tying him up. We're in round number 3 of the scheduled 12-rounder. And the IBF title held by the man in the white shorts at 154 pounds is on the line, the IBF title, that is. And so far, things look rather even from this vantage point. Rosi staying outside, doing his damage as Wolfe tries to land the big right, and certainly getting a little closer with his shots here in the third round, but still not landing anything effectively, nothing to really rock the champion. Glen Wolfe, 29 years of age, and the champion, 33, one of the older world champions in the business today is Juanfranco Rosi. We've reached the halfway point of round number 3. Wolfe keeping that defense up, trying to go on the attack and stalking Rosi. Big left hooks puts Rosi down very quickly. Catching Rosi as he was coming in. Sam Williams giving him the standing 8. Rosi seems to be pretty together, and now Wolfe will see if he can go on the attack big time. And Rosi seems to gather himself very quickly. And Wolfe seems almost rather reluctant to go in for the kill here. Is Rosi doing the tie-up thing, as many times hurt fighters do. Glen Wolfe going for the big kill on the left hook and then missing him, and then Sam Williams admonishing Juanfranco Rosi for hitting Wolfe when he was down. He doesn't take too much stuff, Sam Williams. That's a warning, he tells Rosi. One more time and we'll start deducting points. So Wolfe trying to keep the pressure on after that knockdown, seconds into the round, and now looks like Rosi will pretty much manage to maintain here late in the third round. A third round knockdown for the challenger, Glen Big Bad Wolfe. That left hook was very quick, and Rosi got up at the count of 2 and was up for the count, but the damage was done, and looks like Glen Wolfe, the challenger, having by far and away his best round as we bring you this IBF junior middleweight title from Rome, Italy. We'll get another look at that knockdown and that left hook as we get a look at the corner of Rosi, and he seems to have weathered the storm there in round number 3. Once again, his trainer, Giovanni Bosciolino. There is the action about a minute to go in round 3, and the left hook putting Rosi down, but he's up almost at the count of 2. Sam Williams sending Wolfe to the corner, but Rosi was up, got the 8 count, went back at it, and certainly cleared his head by the end of round number 3. Glen Wolfe, as we said, 29 fights total. As you see that left coming up there and nailing Rosi. But for some reason, Wolfe did not go after Rosi the way many fighters should like to take out a champion. He pretty much came back and pretty much fought the rest of the round, not like a man on a mission. So we now go to round number 4, and Wolfe landing, trying to land, I should say, that big left hook, which put Rosi down in round number 3. Rosi looks like he certainly has cleared his head and back on the attack. Juanfranco Rosi, as we said, the champion, coming in 51-3, but a mere 16 knockouts in his professional career. And Wolfe for the other side of the coin, the big puncher with 24 KOs. Sam Williams earning his paycheck today from the IBF, as he'll try to keep this fight clean and keep Rosi under control. As you saw Rosi pulling the hit a guy when he's down and stunned in round number 3. Now they're up against the ropes, and Wolfe trying to fight away, and Rosi gets out quickly before Wolfe can land the big punishing blows.
Rosi ha preparato molto bene con una rotazione del busto, ha caricato il gancio destro, ora il gancio.
Gianfranco Rosi, a gentleman who's been around a long time, 12 years to be exact. And his 10th world title fight as we got round number 4 coming at you. Both gentlemen missing wild shots there, but Rossi's a guy who's almost impossible to figure out. The minute he plants, then he'll start dancing. The minute he starts dancing, then he'll plant. He comes at you from different angles. Very tough to figure out. Harder to hit than he looks. And once again, as you can see, quite a gentleman who knows the tactics inside, the inside tactics of a boxer, how to clinch, how to hold, how to elbow, and certainly will make his presence felt inside.
Sempre gran lavoro di gambe da parte di Rosi.
Round number 4 about to conclude here as Glen Wolfe continues the attack and Rosi continues to pepper from outside. See Wolfe trying to punch his way out of the grasp of Rosi before Sam Williams steps in and pulls them apart for the umpteenth time here. Inside 30 seconds to go in round number 4, a round in which certainly Rosi reestablished that he was back on his game and frustrating the challenger Glen Wolfe. Third of the way through the fight certainly looks like a tough one to call as Wolfe continues to go for the long jab and the looping right hand as Rosi will time up as we get set to wrap up here in round number 4. We'll come back with round number 5, IBF Junior Middleweight Championship. After this, stay with us. Being quickly on the attack in round number 5, Gianfranco Rosi getting to Glen Wolfe almost before he got off the stool. Once again, I guess you'd have to say Rosi with the home turf advantage. He's almost fought exclusively in the home country here in Italy. Only 3 times in France, 1 time in the United States when he took the IBF title from Darren Van Horn back in 1989, but all the other times have been in Italy. He's got quite a following, very popular gentleman, as Glen Wolfe will try to take the title back to the US of A. Sam Williams stepping in. We're in round number 5, one in which has been a fight pretty much as we thought it would be. Glen Wolfe on the attack with the big shots and Rosi doing his deceptive quick counter punching, tying up inside, although Wolfe did score a knockdown there in round number 3. After that, it's been pretty much Rosi on the attack and looking good. Quick hands, speed, and some decent accuracy. Wolfe still on the attack, but Rosi once again doing the job, tying him up. Sam Williams working the fight today, and Rosi once again after a throwing combination immediately ties up Glen Wolfe, and Sam Williams steps in. 3 losses by the champion, Nelson Gomez back in 1980, Lloyd Hunnigan in 85, and most recently Donald Curry in that ugly 10-round decision back in 1988 when oftentimes it appeared more of a wrestling match than a fight. Big left hook by Wolfe and stuns the champion again, but Rosi takes a good shot and looks like he's going to try to tie up the challenger while he clears his head. You can see almost back on his toes again. Now Wolfe going for the kill, maybe his inexperience showing, wildly throwing and missing, and the champion tying him up quite effectively. Guess you don't fight 55 times like Rosi and not pick up a few tricks of the trade in Wolfe, as we said, his 30th professional fight. But on the other side of the coin, the competition has been maybe not what Rosi has faced, especially in the past 4 or 5 years. Rosi has really upgraded his opponents and certainly his reputation worldwide, holding the WBC first, winning it from Lupe Aquino, and then most recently he currently holds, of course, the IBF title. An underrated fighter, if there is one worldwide, and now on the attack, coming back nicely after being stunned by the left hook, and Rosi landing the combination, and now Wolfe back on the rope, so to speak. Rosi, a gentleman who seldom plants when he throws a shot, but certainly those do take their toll, and you can ask Darren Van Horn or Dwayne Thomas or some other world-class fighters who've been in with the likes of this underrated world champion. As Glen Wolfe with the big shot there midway through round 5 is not taking advantage, and now Rosi looks like he's coming on more to wrap up round number 5. As Wolfe looking for those big shots, and round number 5 is in the books, which really stunned the challenger as we get a look at the combination of Rosi, and you see him tying up Wolfe. There is that left that buckled the the legs of the champion, but look how quickly he recovers. What a chin on Rossi. Albanani, excuse me, and Jack Blumenfeld working the corner of the challenger, coming in Liberty City, actually a suburb of Miami. Tough section of Miami, and Glen Wolfe is pretty much come out of there. Some good exchanges at center ring. Rossi a counterpuncher, but an effective counterpuncher, waiting for Wolfe to commit and then landing his 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5 shots, and then again doing the tie-up thing, which few have done better. Gianfranco Rosi is the 15th Italian to win a world title, a 2-time champion, holding the big exchange at center ring, and Rossi on the attack and really zeroing in on what has turned into more of a stationary target in Glen Wolfe as Sam Williams steps in. Round number 6 of the scheduled 12-rounder. Big shots delivered by Wolfe in the 3rd round when he put down Rossi for the 8. In the 5th round, another left hook did stun the champion, but he recovered quickly and might have stolen the round late. And so far this round, it's been a quick-fisted Rossi from a lot of different angles, getting his shots in and then tying up the challenger. Experience telling here in round number 6. Rossi landing the shots, tying up the challenger, getting his shots in now. And after a while, though they're not the biggest shots you want to see, they do take their toll. Gianfranco Rosi held as a national hero in Italy, on the level of many soccer greats. And once again landing, and the pro-Rossi crowd really gets their champion juiced here. As you can hear in the background, Rossi, and Glen Wolfe for his first world title shot, really taking a shot, but that when you're at the level of Wolfe, you have to go out on a limb and prove yourself, and today he's trying to do that. So far looking good, but the champion certainly in control, except for a couple big shots by Wolfe in the 3rd and the 5th round. Wolfe has been good with that left hook, but right now it looks like Rossi is covered up nicely, keeping that right hand high, and now has the challenger in the corner and tying him up nicely, and Wolfe trying to punch his way out. You'll find very few fighters who can fight the inside game like Rossi at 154 pounds. He manages to tie up the other fighter, get his shots in, and get out without getting hurt. And thus far, it's been very frustrating for the challenger, Glen Wolfe, to get anything done inside. You see, it's almost Rossi always landing the more telling blows inside. As we wrap up round number 6, we're all at the halfway point, and it looks like Rossi doing the big shots here might be looking for the knockout, something he seldom does. And round number 6 is now in history.
For years,
Glen Wolfe, a textbook kind of guy, keeping both hands high, keeping the jab out there, and keeping some movement. Not as much head movement as maybe some trainers would like, but certainly a man on the stalk. And Rossi coming from a lot of different angles, and when he doesn't get his job done, he just ties up the challenger. Big round for Wolfe in round number 3, a knockdown and a stunning left in round number 5, but late in that round number 5, Rossi did rally and might have pulled it out. Big Bad Wolfe throwing that wild left and leaving himself open for a big combination from the challenger. 55th pro fight for Rossi, 12 years of boxing experience going against Glen Wolfe, who's fought 9 years but certainly doesn't have the quality or the quantity of competition that a Rossi does. You see Rossi trying to get his shots in, doesn't get it done, he will reload after he ties up. Rossi, a pretty good amateur career, 95-5 as we continue the action round number 7. Glen Wolfe was a Golden Glove champ of Florida, 78-6 was his amateur record. He likes a knockout as he continues to try to land that big left, which has been his most effective shot, but Rossi once again getting in a looping right and then tying up. Once again, the tie-up again in round number 7. And if you recall that Donald Curry fight back in 1988, I believe Rossi was on the mat about 6 or 7 times, 2 or 3 times by the punches of the Cobra, but the other times he was just like in a wrestling match with Donald, and Donald was just sick of it and just throwing him on the mat. None of that yet. we're not quite as deep into that fight. Round number 7, scheduled 12 round, with the champion Gianfranco Rosi in the white trunks, and from Liberty City section of Miami, it's Glen Big Bad Wolfe looking for a world title belt to fit around his waist, and on the attack. And the left eye closing just slightly on the challenger. When you look at 154 pounds, you certainly have to figure the most marketable junior middle would be Terry Norris, holding the WBC title. That win over Sugar Ray catapulted him into superstar status. His knockout of Donald Curry back in June certainly helps that as well. Action continues in round number 7. Another youngster you might want to keep an eye out for is Roy Jones, the 1988 gold silver medal winner, I should say. There is some talent at 154 pounds, and Rosi would certainly like to get a couple more big paydays before he might call it quits at age 33. As Glen Big Bad Wolfe on the attack. Center ring action. A lot of different angles Rosi will give you. As you see, just kind of a slapping left, and then combination, square on the chin of the challenger. Big shots, and of course the crowd much in the approval. When this fight started, Glen Wolfe was certainly a busier fighter, trying to land the jab. Now it looks like he's trying to load up A on the left hook or the big right. And in the meantime, the champion is continuing to throw punches, pile up the points, and certainly in control of this fight in his own not real pretty style, the champion Gianfranco Rosi. Only one time has Rosi fought in the United States, and that, of course, a 12-round decision over Darren Van Horn back in July 15th, 1989, and when he kind of surprised just about everybody. Van Horn had won the title, thought it would be a nice defense. Rosi came back and took the title. Then Van Horn went back at it 1 year later, 1 year and 6 days to be exact, but Rosi was up to the challenge again. The schoolboy has now jumped up to 168 pounds, where he's the IBF super middleweight title holder, and Rosi continues to maintain his weight in the middle 150s as we got midway through round number 8. And Wolfe landing a good counterpunch, and Rosi now letting loose with some shots. And Sam Williams stepping in. He's earned his paycheck today, has the man in blue. Combination not as effective as the crowd might think, as the crowd certainly into it. Wolfe covering up well, but some of those punches are getting in. At least the impact of those punches are being felt. Seconds ago in round number 8, and Gianfranco Rosi, after being knocked down in the 3rd round and rocked in the 5th, has recovered rather nicely, as Glen Wolfe is finding it tough going against this very time-tested and quality opponent-tested veteran, Rosi. Tying up Wolfe, you see him cupping that left hand under his right elbow. And few do it better at this weight class than Gianfranco Rosi. 1983 Chicago White Sox coined the phrase winning ugly. And I think if you would ask most ringside observers of this gentleman, Gianfranco Rosi, you'd have to say that he certainly would qualify for the term winning ugly. But winning all the same as he holds the IBF title. Rosi landing some big shots inside and certainly getting the better of it. Round number 8. And oftentimes relies on the fact that he is in such great shape, even though many people think at 33 he might be on the downside of his career. Don't tell Darren Schoolboy Van Horn, age 21, that Rosi can't fight anymore, because he certainly showed the schoolboy, took the schoolboy to school, so to speak, back last year and the year before in a rematch. Wolfe trying to land that big left hook. He has not been effective since the 5th round, and now Rosi landing the quicker shots and now trying to get the job done, and certainly landing some nice shots to Glen Wolfe, and the crowd looking for maybe to finish the afternoon's work here.
Sportiva che sostiene Rosi in questo incontro. Wolfe non è più lucido come nelle prime.
Once again, Rosi doing the tie-up thing, and Wolfe trying to punch his way out, not too effective though. And then Rosi breaking the clinch and then with the overhand right. It almost seems that Rosi loves these clinches because invariably he will get the better of it when they do end up punching out of it. He's the master of the clinch work inside. Left hook lands on Wolfe and does stopping in his tracks. Midway through round number 9 of the scheduled 12-rounder, and both gentlemen going toe-to-toe here in round number 9. And Wolfe getting some good shots off inside, but look at Rosi craftily tie him up. And now he's working hard inside as well. And landing the big shots, and Wolfe taking the brunt end of it. As you can see, that left eye is becoming increasingly puffy, and you have to figure the eyesight out of the left side of his head is becoming less and less, and that means he becomes more susceptible to that sneaky right hand from the champion, Gianfranco Rosi. And certainly this round is going heavily in the favor of the champion. And conditioning, always a key for Rosi, and certainly telling the tale here in round number 9. Big combination, rocks the challenger again, and once again, Rosi not the knockout guy, but these are just a culmination of shots and more shots and landing the shots, much like he did in round number 8, and the crowd getting into it, and Rosi zeroing in on the head of Glen Big Bad Wolfe. He's going to have one big bad headache at the end of this one. Rosi gets his punches in without giving away his body, and that's a very odd tactic. He doesn't have the kind of power that if you turn your body into them, but he will get them in without giving up his body, which is real key for his attack. Round number 9 in the books. As we can look at the very appreciative crowd here in Rome, and of course they're rooting very heartily for the man that holds the title, their home country hero by way of Perugia, Italy. You're looking at him right there, profile, Gianfranco Rosi. His 10th world title fight, as we said, the last 6 title offenses, 5 have gone the distance. So you see him lunging in there, getting his 2 shots in before Wolfe could even get anything off in counter. The champion had tied him up. Well, he makes himself look good, then by the time you try to get something off, then he punches out of the clinch, landing the right and then a left as well. Combinations again. Gianfranco Rosi, underrated, and interesting fight might be to team him up with Terry Norris. Of course, Norris would insist upon fighting here in the States, and you got to feel Rosi really likes that home ring advantage he holds in Italy. He's fought, as we said, his 55th title, 55th fight, and 51 times he has fought in Italy. So he certainly doesn't like the road trip, so to speak. Round number 10, and you see the right eye of Glen Wolfe certainly is closing. And Rosi staying outside, picking apart, and then landing the combinations and tying up Wolfe as he has the entire fight. Glen Wolfe did put Rosi down on the mat in the 3rd round and landed a big left in the 5th, but in both instances did not follow up. As you see, eyesight for the Big Bad Wolfe is getting rather tough right now. Big left and rocks Rosi, but Rosi effectively covering up. Albanini working the corner of Wolfe and telling him to follow those big shots up with a flurry, but he has yet to listen to his corner. Just pot-shotting from outside. It's just long-distance shots there from Rosi, but landing very effectively. And Wolfe not really getting off too much of anything. And Rosi just missing that big overhand right. Midway through round number 10, Sam Williams steps in again, has done a tremendous job. As we have said before, Rosi has fought in some ugly contests in his career. And some have turned into something just below World Wrestling Federation boxing. or wrestling, excuse me.
Wolfe ormai questi sinistri li prende quasi tutti.
Wolfe trying to establish something, but rather late in the fight to do that, and Rosi just picking and grinning from outside, getting the shots and then tying up the challenger. Gianfranco Rosi has certainly turned the tide, as you see. The right eye of Glen Wolfe is certainly not as nice as it was when this fight did start some 10 rounds ago. And Rosi, you can ask just about anybody, not the big puncher, but after a while he lands enough that you're going to start feeling it, and your face will show it. Inside 30 seconds to go in round number 10. And once again, the accuracy of Rosi uncanny as he punches from just an array of angles, left, right, up, down, hooks, straights. Pretty much just about anything you can imagine. He can throw it just about any angle and off any foot, I might add. Another good round for the champion, Gianfranco Rosi, as Glen Wolfe tries to get untracked in round number 10.
Siamo in diretta da Avezzano.
Glen Wolfe has to figure with the way the fight has gone that he's going to need a couple big ones to turn the tide here. Not only you're fighting Gianfranco Rosi, but a very pro-Rosi crowd, and trust me, I've seen enough Rosi fights to know that he does feed off the emotion of the pro-Rosi crowd. So Glen Wolfe certainly has his work cut out for him. As you see, the eyesight is getting kind of tough, and Rosi just kind of picking from outside.
Adesso Rosi non poteva far partire i colpi e ha preferito legare l'avversario. In tal modo ne ha bloccato l'azione. Sinistro di Rosi.
Left hook just barely grazing the face, and now he tries to follow up with the right. Wolfe sometimes barely missing on his big shots, and he feels that his left hook has been his most effective punch, but each time Rosi has come back.
Impensierire Rosi in questo momento, e Wolfe sta giocando.
And Rosi will often take advantage of a tired and sloppy fighter. He'll just pick you apart. He's done it with Van Horn a couple times, Dwayne Thomas, Lupi Aquino. Won't do it pretty, he'll just do it. Get two shots in there, get the straight left, get out, and then before you know it, he ties you up. Crafty veteran.
Il tema tattico non è mai cambiato.
Missing with a couple wild lefts. As Wolfe maybe a little bit reluctant to throw shots because maybe those punches from Rosi are really starting to take their toll. Not as assertive and aggressive as he was in the earlier rounds. Maybe because he's feeling the pressure. Albanini working the corner. Now Wolfe taking going in for one and getting nailed with two big ones, a right and a left. And Rosi, as we said, will take advantage of a tired and sloppy fighter. And so far in this 11th round, he has demonstrated that. Just tremendous condition. You just can't say enough. The kind of punches he throws and the pressure he keeps on the fighter. They call him a counter puncher, but I'll tell you, he counters very, very well. You see who's holding on now? Glen Wolfe. So you know where the fatigue factor is lying. It's on the challenger. You didn't see him hold the entire 10 rounds. Right now, he's the guy holding on because Rossi's feeling his oats, feeling the crowd, and feeling that he's got this fight pretty much under control. So he's landing the shots. Inside 30 seconds, another good round for the champion as he tries to retain that IBF title belt for the 6th time in some 2 years. Look at the combinations, just rights and lefts, just peppering the head of Glen Wolfe, who looks like he's getting on the low tank side, working on E right now as a challenger. Nice uppercut though. Round number 11 in the books. Just about as Sam Williams steps in. The crowd sensing that victory is possibly within the grasp, unless Glen Big Bad Wolfe can live up to his name. 24 knockouts in his 27 professional wins. That's 90% knockout ratio. He's going to have to pull out another one if he's going to indeed pull this fight out.
Round pari. Rosi comunque a 3 minuti dalla conclusione del match.
Gianfranco Rosi, as we said, Gentleman's been fighting since 1979 professionally. Has been in a lot of these long fights, long world championship fights. His 10th world title fight, and certainly the experience that he has demonstrated after getting rocked in the 3rd and 5th round has really paid off. And maybe Glen Wolfe a little reluctant, maybe the experience factor not in his favor when he did hurt Rossi, really to be able to follow up and hurt him and take him out. We're now in round number 12, and Rossi has certainly been here before, and Wolfe has not. We're going into uncharted territory for Glen Wolfe as we take a look at the action starting here in round number 12. They touch gloves, and they're going to go right at it. Glen Wolfe has not been by the 10th round. So as we said, the 11th round was new territory. Now round number 12, and Rossi out quickly with that chopping right to the chin of the challenger. Once again, just picking apart Glen Wolfe, and really has come on in rounds 8 through now 12. And Wolfe looking for that big shot, but Rossi not giving him any angles, and when he does getting close, he ties him up. And then do not discount the hand speed or the power right now of Gianfranco Rosi, because he certainly has managed to zero in on Glen Wolfe, who has to feel, at least his corner has to feel, the only shot that he's got to pull this baby out is a knockout. And he certainly has the punching power to do that, but with Rossi looking to be rather fresh, bouncing around, you have to wonder if he'll be able to keep the pressure on, but never discount the big bad Wolfe man, 24 knockout. Wolfe trying to keep the pressure on, but just peppering him from outside is the champion, Gianfranco Rosi. Rossi pulling a quick one, doing a little spin there, getting him from behind. Sam Williams caught him just in time. And now just from long distance, I'm outside, it is the champion just keeping. Now he's got Wolfe hurt. Wolfe is now holding on. As we said, the last 2 or 3 rounds, it has not been Rossi holding on, it has been the challenger. You see both eyes puffy, especially the left one. The right one is not as puffy, but that left eye of Glen Wolfe really puffy. And the crowd's feeling as we're inside 1 minute, as Gianfranco Rosi looking very, very strong here in the latter rounds at age 33, soon to be 34. Here's a gentleman who appears to still be at the top of the sport, at least at 154 pounds. And the crowd came to see this, and indeed they are seeing their champion, their hometown hero, getting the job done here in Rome. Rossi holding on a little bit and just holding on just enough, and then breaking and then getting 2 more shots in. Gianfranco Rosi keeping on the toes in superb shape. Ross trying to land, Wolfe I should say, trying to keep that pressure on. We're inside 15 seconds, as you can see on your screen, round number 12. And the champion finishing up with a flourish. And the challenge is trying to hope for 1 more shot before we call this baby in the history books. Glen Big Bad Wolfe and Gianfranco Rosi, 12 rounds in the book. Tremendous action as Rossi just stays out of harm's way, hoping to get that healthy nod from the judges when they turn it over to the judges. Glen Wolfe and Gianfranco Rosi, 12 rounds in the books. And certainly the latter portion of this fight, Gianfranco Rosi certainly showing the kind of class that he has exemplified his entire career. What a specimen, a gentleman who will just continue to punch, tie you up. As we said, it's not the artistic success of maybe a Sugar Ray Leonard or a Meldrick Taylor, but this gentleman just gets the job done. Punching from every angle imaginable. Left foot, right foot, he punches left-handed. He'll fight left-handed or right-handed. And the crowd sensing that indeed it will be a decision in his favor. And from this vantage point, it certainly seems that you take away the 3rd and 5th round, Rossi certainly got the better of this. A happy Gianfranco Rosi will come back for the official decision. Stay with us. Round IBF junior middleweight title. And that, of course, the champion in the hat and the challenger, Glen Big Bad Wolfe, really had tremendous latter portion of the fight for the champion. After, as we said, getting knocked down in the third and rocked in the fifth, he really turned up the pressure in the second portion of this fight, and really his experience, ring savvy, really came through. As you see this action in round number 12, he was getting the better of it inside, and the challenger, as we said, had not been past round number 10, and only one time he had gone 10 rounds in his career. Had to go deep into the fight with a gentleman who was obviously in tremendous condition. As you see, Glen Wolfe's left eye was rather incapacitated late in the fight. He did put on a good show as we get the decision from the judges. As you can see, Juanfranco Rosi and the challenger there on your left side, Glen Big Bad Wolfe wearing that Little Red Riding Hood outfit in red, but today, as we get Sam Williams as the referee ready to raise the arm of the winner of this fight, and certainly from this vantage point it appears that Rosi certainly had the better of it, and the way that gentleman looks and the way his corner looked, especially at the end of this fight, you have to believe that they realize that their effort today in Rome came up a little bit on the short side. The champion does retain his title, a unanimous 12-round decision. Juanfranco Rosi is a gentleman who will now be looking for possibly bigger paydays. Maybe a matchup with Terry Norris, maybe possibly Mark Breland, who's also entered the fray at 154 pounds. You see, no shock whatsoever. He retains his title, unanimous 12-round decision. The IBF title is retained by the man right there, Juanfranco Rosi. And they're getting congratulations from the corner of Glen Big Bad Wolfe, who certainly afforded himself well in this fight. As we see the action here in round number 12. And really, Wolfe, with that left eye being closed almost totally, was at the mercy of a chopping right hand of Rosi. As you see right there, he could not even see it coming. And Rosi, just one tough customer, especially when fights get late into the 9th, 10th, and 11th rounds. He really seems to turn up the pressure, is in tremendous, tremendous condition. A great job by the champion, Juanfranco Rosi, maintaining his IBF title in Rome, defeating the challenger Glen Big Bad Wolfe. That'll do it for an evening of boxing from Rome, Italy. Well, thank you for joining us.
First Kaler, perhaps in his twilight years now, and while no longer the fresh athlete of the early 80s, he still has the heart and the courage to cause an upset, and he's determined to prove his critics that he's not finished with boxing yet. 6th major championship fight. Every time, he's given everything.
The tension now almost unbearable. And Kaler spits out his gum shield. The perfect climax to a major title fight.